What is going on, everybody? Back with another solo pod talking college football week 6. Man, there are a ton of upsets this week. Bama goes down, Tennessee goes down, Miami goes down, or Miami wins, USC goes down. Yeah, there were tons to talk about. Let's start with the Friday night games. Oregon hosts Michigan State. Oregon Ducks get it done 31-10. Dylan Gabriel looked had two touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, but threw 2 picks, and I don't know. This Michigan State team is not the best, so that's not the most encouraging sign. However, Oregon does go to 5-0, and hey, they're undefeated. You can't really knock them too much. Jordan James looks like a legit running back. 24 carries, 166 yards, and a touchdown. Tej Johnson did his thing, 10 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. Terrence Ferguson, 82 yards. Everyone on the offense kind of did their part. Defense stepped up. Given this Michigan State offense is not great. Aiden Childs is just not it. They couldn't really get anything going on the ground. Ducks held them to 59 yards on the ground. So, yeah, Oregon offense definitely got some things to clean up, but defense looked good. Can't really knock them too much there. But, yeah, that's pretty much it from that game. Syracuse, UNLV. Interesting game. Very back and forth. UNLV kind of took a little lead. Syracuse came back. Kyle McCord had some impressive throws. He threw the ball 63 times, which is just insane. Hajj Malik Williams had 227 passing, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Went 21 for 25. Yeah, they're a very back and forth game. There was a punt block that somehow flew 30 yards back into the end zone where the Rebels picked it up and scored. But yeah, I think kind of Kyle McCord's little maybe experience with playing in bigger games kind of helped him prevail in this one, not be flustered if he was down. But yeah, UNLV, national spotlight on them with the whole guy not playing. I think it's Skula from UNLV, where basically he's sitting out the rest of the year because he didn't get the promised NIL money that the program promised him when he was going to commit there and go there, which is kind of insane that we go from students kind of getting gypped out of their share of the pie to now them feeling entitled to all this money and stuff, which just complete 180. There's no balance, I feel like, with anything anymore. Complete overcorrection, and now, yeah, that had nothing to do with the game, but I just want to talk about it. But UNLV, they go to 4-1. Syracuse improves to 4-1. This Syracuse team is not bad, and I just want to look at their team stats. Beat Ohio, it doesn't matter. Beat Georgia Tech, ranked. That was a big win. Lost to Stanford. That's such a weird loss. I guess Stanford has a kind of an unconventional offense with that insanely athletic quarterback and Aya Manor, who's going to be probably top 8 receiver off the board next year in the draft. Then they beat Holy Cross, which they should, and they beat a ranked UNLV team. So they've beaten 2 ranked teams so far. So interesting ACC team to kind of keep on the watch for. They go to NC State next week, which will be another big test. I know I'm a pretty big NC State hater, but Syracuse is not necessarily a powerhouse, so it should be a good test for them. We'll go into predictions, obviously, at the end, as we always do. But, yeah, fun game. 2 decent games on Friday night. Again, they're doing a great job with their scheduling. But, yeah, after I take a sip of this, we'll get to the biggest upset. I want to do some research on that, but Bama goes down to Vanderbilt. All right. I don't even know where I want to start here with this game. I guess we'll just go chronologically. We'll go this Vanderbilt team. I mean, they gave Missouri a run for their money last week, right? And that was that was actually 2 weeks ago, sorry. 2 weeks ago, they gave Missouri a run for their money. And it was like, all right, Missouri escapes, whatever, fluke game, okay? I thought, as everyone else did, Bama was going to come in here and just stomp them. Nick Saban, they played the freaking video of the interview of what's the easiest place to play in the SEC, and they're like, everyone's pretty tough except Vandy. They took that personally, and Diego Pavia, he's like the Gardner Minshew of college football. That's the best comparison that I can make just watching him play. Like, very unconventional, very kind of odd, very efficient this game. Threw for 252 and 2 touchdowns, averaging almost 13 yards of completion, 16 for 20, rushed for 56 yards, had 20 carries. So not efficient on the ground, but dude just does not give a fuck. He puts his body on the line for his team. That's someone everyone can rally around. But yeah, this Vandy team, they just didn't let off the gas. They just their quality kind of shone through sometimes, with Bama just being able to outman them and out-talent them. But the play calls, all the misdirection, kind of get Pavia out of the pocket more. There's one play where I was a fake screen pass into Pavia spinning around like a ballerina to throw a 5-yard out. It was just like they're pulling out every trick out of the book to try to beat this Crimson Tide team. And for Bama, I mean, Ryan Williams held to 3 catches, but took one of them to the crib on that 58-yard touchdown, which is just like, I don't know how this kid keeps making insane play, keeps making insane plays look routine, and he just has such great body control, and the way he's able to kind of, hold on, someone just got home. Loki, who is it? Yeah, what's up? What's up? Oh, all right. Yeah. Talking Bama. Yeah, anyways. Sorry, that was my dad just getting home. But Ryan Williams, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, his body control is just insane. I don't understand how he continues to make those plays. Had another one with just insane body control and kind of got pushed and was able to just kind of show his core strength and stay upright and take it to the crib. Only had 3 catches, though, which is a big part of it. He did have a rushing touchdown. They just kind of wanted to get the ball in his hands at the end of the game, which totally get it. But not overly efficient from this Bama team. There are some costly turnovers and timely. It wasn't like they were up 20 and they fumbled. You know, it was like they were driving, down a score, fumble, down a score, pick. It was just like, oh, man, that was just a backbreaker. And, yeah, Vandy put up 40 points. You kind of look at the defense. They had that player who was tweaking out the entire last drive, like shoving Pavia's head into the dirt, throwing a temper tantrum, throwing his mouthpiece like a child. Like, I get it. I mean, we're all college kids, and college kids are going to make mistakes, but if you're a Bama captain, 5th-year senior, you shouldn't be throwing your mouthpiece across the field like a baby. But, yeah, Vandy gets it done. I don't know how. Actually, I do know how. Diego Pavia, there's a 4th-down throw where kind of play broke down, and guy turned it upfield after just dropping a pass and almost caught it with, like, the back of his hand and his fingertip. It was I don't know if you guys will go watch the replay. It's kind of hard to describe without actually just seeing it, but laid it out there perfectly for him, made the catch, beautiful touch pass, and I literally audibly said, "What a throw!" Like, that's a high level throw, and I'm not saying Pivot is going to be number one overall pick, but I mean, you can't take away this is not boosting his draft stock if you're not. I mean, you just got to keep it real. But yeah, I want to look at what were the stats. When was the last time a number one seed lost to an unranked team? Alabama to Texas A&M in 2021. Huh. Prior to Saturday, AP number one teams have gone 134-1 against unranked opponents since Oregon State upset USC on Thursday night in September 2008. Huh. Damn. That's okay. That was just Bama's the first loss. Got it. So since 2008, that's insane. Like Matt Rule said from Nebraska, there's with NIL and just how many players are moving and different systems changing every year. Like you can't write off any team nowadays. Different schemes, they are constantly changing. Players are kind of finding their fit, especially early in the season. But yeah, Vandy beats Bama. Move on to Ohio State. They clap Iowa 35-7. Jeremiah Smith just looks insane. I made a video about him first week, and he makes insane catches look routine. He bodied. They threw a fade to him, and he just kind of low-broed the corner. It was like when you're playing like pool basketball as a kid, and your dad's going up and dunking, and you're like, dude, I don't know how to stop this. Like, you feel just helpless. That's how it looks watching Jeremiah Smith play football against these guys. And this is an Iowa team that, like, is known for, I mean, they just brought Cooper DeJean out of the draft. I know, white corner, whatever. But still, second overall or second round pick. Insanely talented this guy is. Igbuka had 3 touchdowns quietly somehow because Jeremiah Smith just steals every headline. He's basically trapped in college next year, which I was comparing him to Marvin Harrison Jr., where it was kind of like, all right, Marvin should come out of this draft, but he has to stay another year. I wonder with how everything's changing, they'll kind of go to how basketball kind of works. You have to play 1 year, but then after that you can leave. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Jeremiah Smith, that's pretty much all I want to talk about with that game. He's insane. Igbuka's insane. They probably have the best tandem receiver. I'm not going to say receiving depth, but tandem receiver duo in the country with Igbuka and Jeremiah Smith. And I don't think that's ridiculous at all to say. But, yeah, good with that game. Tennessee drops it to Arkansas. Very boring first half. No team could really get anything going. Defensive coach probably loved it. Personally, I didn't. Not very fun to watch, but you got to give credit to where credit's due to this Vols team, and they looked pretty much shut down in the first half. Razorbacks also looked shut down. They literally blanked out one of the top scoring offenses in the country. Literally a fat egg going into halftime, 3-0, right? And then Tennessee is like, fuck that. We're putting our head down and we're running the football. And they got Dylan Sampson going. He had 22 carries, 138 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And receiving, they didn't really have to do too much. Their leading receiver was Dante Thornton Jr. He had 1 catch on the last drive of the game. That's goes to kind of show how this game was going for the passing game and Nico Iamaleava. But yeah, give credit to his Razorbacks team. They had a game plan that executed. They didn't go away. When Dylan Sampson walked into that second touchdown, and they went up 14-3. I was like, okay, yeah, this game's probably over. Taylor Green didn't really show anything prior to that drive for Arkansas, and they answered back quick. Taylor Green had all of a sudden just found his rhythm again and kind of led this team down the field and scored a touchdown. And I was like, okay, I don't know where that was for the first 30 minutes of the game, but hey, 14-10, we got a ball game. And then this Arkansas defense made adjustments, and they stopped him. They did a good job of kind of spying Nico. They never really let him get out of the pocket and kind of juice them. Even like their edge rushers weren't fully committing to the pass rush. They were getting pressure, but if they sensed Nico was kind of slip out, they'd kind of put their foot on the ground. They're always looking for the run. That's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I mean, Taylor Green made the throws he had to make. Braylon Russell had 8 carries for 62 yards. He had a huge one to kind of put them into that where they scored that final touchdown. And Tennessee, you question with calls like this. Basically, at the end of the game, the Kenny ran read option with, I'm guessing, I'm not sure who that was. Let's see. It was Malachi Singleton. Their backup quarterback. He's a freshman. So they go read option. Singleton keeps it, scores a touchdown, but then you watch the replay and you see the Tennessee defender kind of just lets him walk in, and they're like, okay. You see what they're doing. They had 2 timeouts, a minute and 20 or minute 15 left, and you have arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the country to go lead your team down the field. Honestly, I'm probably doing the same thing for Tennessee. But when it doesn't work out, you always could get brought back to that point, and you're like, all right, you kind of just stiffen up there. But then again, you only had 2 timeouts. I know I think it was 3rd down, so you can still kind of call your timeouts to give yourself a chance, maybe with 1 timeout left and minute 10 left, minute 05. But they took their chances, and they said, hey, we got a guy, and we believed him. And Nico made a play. Like I was talking about with Deontay Thornton, escaped the pocket, fired downfield for 42 yards, put him on the Arkansas 20, with 30 seconds left, and the play call from there just broke down. They had 1 timeout, about a minute left to go, and play call just failed them completely. I'll have to watch that back and kind of see what happened again, but yeah, didn't work out. Iamaleava tries to scramble for the touchdown on the 20. Just was never going to happen on the last play of the game. And Razorbacks upset Tennessee. And, yeah, it was nutty. I won't lie. I thought I'd literally turn the game off because the whole UFC card, Bama game was on too. Finished trying to watch that. Miami game just started, and it was like, damn, a lot of games. This game's over. And I turned it back on, and Arkansas's scoring a touchdown. I was like, fuck, well, that's on me, I guess. I have to watch the highlights back. But yeah, Razorbacks get it done. We'll go to Auburn, Georgia. Gonna glaze over this game. Nothing too crazy. Georgia defense saw what happened last week, giving up that many points to Bama. You kind of knew this game was going to happen. There's never really a doubt in my mind that Georgia's going to win this football game. Carson Beck looked efficient, kind of getting the ball out of his hand quickly, decisive. They got Trevor Etienne going. And, yeah, this is how you win an SEC football game. You run the ball, you play good defense, and your quarterback has decisive decisions, and, yeah, you win the football game. Pretty much it. Georgia beats them 31-13. We'll go to Penn State. I literally can't stand talking Penn State football, but I have to because they're 5-0. They beat UCLA. UCLA sucks. Penn State doesn't look fantastic, but their running game carried them. Defense carried them like always. I can't wait to see when they play a freaking good team. They play USC next week. There we go. That's their first loss, thank God. Drew Allar is, when I talk about my quarterback tier ranking, he is ultimate mid-ranked quarterback. This team is number 7 in the country at this time when they beat UCLA. Drew Lar, I don't care. You cannot convince me that you're winning a freaking natty with him. Penn State, I'm sorry. That's just not happening. They have playmakers on like the receiving side of the ball. Wallace is actually a very good playmaker. Clifford had a big game today too, but that's kind of a fluke. Yeah, but done with that game. Penn State goes to 5-0, but it's going to be 5-1 come next week. Let's get to an actually interesting game with Miami and Cal. A lot of water breaks this pod, but we'll go to Miami, Cal. Man, this game looked dead in the water for Miami. This game was 38-18 going into the fourth with 14 minutes left. That's when Cal kicked that extra point or that field goal, which should have been a touchdown. That receiver dropped in the back of the end zone on that fade route. But I digress. There's Cam Ward. Heisman moments for sure. What is that pick? NFL scouts are looking at that pick like, dude, you're making it tough on us to kind of sell our pitch about you to our team. Like, you cannot make those type of throws here. That's not the Cal Golden Bears picked you off. Just imagine what the freaking Bears defense is going to do to you. They're going to bend you over and, yeah. Cam Ward threw for 437 and 2 touchdowns. Also rushed for a touchdown, so 3 touchdowns combined. But it's just that one blemish on here. They were like, dude, come on. He had some overthrows too where it was kind of uncharacteristic from him, but got to give credit to Cal here. Fernando Mendoza only had 11 completions. Felt a lot more than that just because it felt like every pass he threw one for a touchdown. Jaden Ott had 2 touchdowns. This Miami team, you cannot be giving up 38 points to Cal. You're not going to win games. You gave up a ton of points last week to Virginia Tech and barely escaped. I guess they just like close games, which, say what you want, they're 6-0 with an ACC conference that's wide open. I kept talking about that. They're my pick to win the ACC, actually. And, Restrepo, Horton, Martinez, Arroyo, they got guys to make plays on this offense. The offense is not my worry. It's the defense giving up blown coverage plays where you're like, dude, how is he that wide open? They have to get that dialed in before they start playing some of these games and these conference games, especially. They go to Louisville next week. And that Louisville team is going to be pissed because they just dropped 1 to SMU to kind of knock them out of the rankings. Then you got Florida State, which will probably be a cakewalk. You got Duke, who's actually decent. Georgia Tech is just a weird team. I don't know. They just run a bunch of weird plays. Interesting offense. Then you finish the year with Wake Forest, which you should beat, and then at Syracuse. This schedule is very favorable for Miami. They have a very good chance of going 12-0. But it's this defense, and if Cam Ward in a close game decides, hey, I'm going to throw across my body again for a pick against a better team, that might cost you the game, And threw a pick 6 here, and just dude, you cannot be doing that. I don't care the rest of your stat line was great. That's just such an ugly thing to see from a guy who's potentially going to win the Heisman if Miami keeps winning, But, yeah, you can make a bunch of Heisman moments for Cam Ward. You can also make a freaking SportsCenter not top 10 compilation of every Cam Ward pick, and you're like, dude, what are you doing? But, yeah, Miami gets it done. They win. That's what matters. And, yeah, they go to 6-0, 2-0 in the ACC. Cal falls to 3-2. Let's get to A&M Mizzou. Connor Weibgen, I apologize. I'm sorry. I called you a mid-quarterback. You actually look great. Le'Veon Moss, baller, 12 carries, 138 yards, 11 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. Amari Daniels, 9 carries, 34 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, A&M got up early. They put the foot on the gas the entire way through. Their defense didn't let up. Nick Gordon showed up. Big time win for A&M. And after dropping the first game to, number 11 ranked Notre Dame team, you can't be too mad. I mean, you can't be. You couldn't have responded better. I mean, you go and beat the number 9 team in the country with a top 2, in my opinion, top 1 receiver prospect, and Luther Burden, which, by the way, throwing a hissy fit on the sideline is just not good for your draft stock and not what NFL teams want to see. They don't want another diva. There are plenty of good receivers coming out of this class where that might drop you a spot in the draft because you threw a tantrum when, in reality, if you're Luther Burden, you probably understand that Mizzou's not going to win a national championship. Like, let's be real. They're not going to win one. So you should be doing everything in your power to boost your draft stock, be a good teammate, everyone on the field high-fiving, kind of boost that morale, be like, hey, this guy's a leader no matter what happens. But I don't know. I get you want to win. I'm not oblivious to that, but you got to keep the end in mind. Like, what's your end goal? Play in the NFL, get drafted as the top 2 receiver off the board. You can't be doing that. I sound like a freaking lecturing dad now, but just keeping it a buck. A&M, they thrash Mizzou. I picked them to win. I did not think they were going to blow them out that bad. They go to 5-1 and 3-0 in the SEC. Can't slouch at that at all. Mizzou falls to 4-1 and 1-1 in the SEC. After that Vandy scare, they come off the bye and they drop one to A&M. So should be interesting to see how they bounce back. But we'll go to Michigan and Washington now. Michigan is the Bears of the NFL, or the Bears of college football. They have consistently bad quarterbacks coming through, minus J.J. McCarthy. He's the exception, as is Caleb, the exception in Chicago. And, yeah, Michigan, I keep saying it, they play good defense and they can run the football. They have 2 very solid running backs, Donovan Edwards and Khalil Mullings, 2 great running backs. Outside of that, they have Colson Loveland, who's, if you put him on a competent offense with a competent quarterback, he's a baller, I won't lie. But with Jack Tuttle out there, you're not doing shit. And Washington's well coached. Will Rogers threw his first pick this year. His stats so far in the season, 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, 1 pick. Come on, man. That's not bad. That's not only not bad, that's good. Jonah Coleman had 18 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Denzel Boston had 5 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Everyone kind of did their thing for Washington. The Will Rogers pick was an insane play by the Michigan linebacker. But they couldn't really make anything of it, and Washington gets the ball back and punches in for a touchdown, and the game is sealed on a Michigan interception. It's just the most fitting ending to a game with the quarterback for Michigan failing him. They're just going through the ringer of, or go Orgy. No, we're going to go, Warren. And then, no, we're going to go Tuttle. Like, come on. It's embarrassing, really. They're 4-2, 2-1 in the Big Ten. Washington improves to 4-2 and 2-1 in the Big Ten. Big win for Washington. I don't see them making a huge push for the Big Ten title, but crazier things have happened. Vandy just beat Bama, so college football, it's tough to predict. Like this next game, USC, Minnesota. I thought USC was going to win. I thought Minnesota was going to keep it close, so I'm not too far off with kind of how this game went. Miller Moss threw 2 picks. Woody Marks was very efficient on the ground. They should have probably leaned into that more. No USC receiver who I mean, they probably have one of the best receiving cores in the country. No one eclipsed more than 55 yards. Everyone was held in check. As far as this Minnesota team, Brosmer, not a lot of volume, but very effective. 15 completions, 19 attempts, 169 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, but rushed for 3 touchdowns. So kind of odd there, but that's just Big Ten football. Got the ground game going. Darius Taylor, 25 carries, 144 yards. And yeah, I mean, USC had a chance at the end, but safety made a hell of a play on the ball. Who was that? Who was it? Coy Parrish. Freshman, game-sealing pick. Has 2 picks in the season, a forced fumble. Good for him. USC, like I said, they play Penn State next week. They should probably get back on track. They're 3-2 and 1-2 in the conference. Not looking great for conference play, but 3-2, you can come back from that. Minnesota improves to 3-3. Minnesota's just one of those teams you can't take lightly, and you can't come in here like USC and think you're just going to walk all over them. I'm not sure if that's what they thought, but sure as hell looked like it. But, yeah. What other games do I want to talk about? Ole Miss gets it done against South Carolina, 27-3. I picked South Carolina to beat them, but Ole Miss was pissed after that loss last week and came back and shut my ass up, so good for them. Clemson improves to 4-1 after dropping that first game to Georgia, 3-0 in the ACC. They beat Florida State. Florida State is now 1-5 after coming into the season ranked, I think, 10, which is just insane to think about. Baylor, they're not great. Iowa State goes to 5-0. They whoop up on Baylor 43-21. Boise State, Ashton Genty. Weekly Ashton Genty stat check-in. Through 6 weeks of the college football season, he has 95 carries, 1,031 yards, and 16 touchdowns, averaging almost 11 yards a carry. That is an NFL running back playing against Utah State, and that's pretty much the result you would expect, and that's what happens. He might single-handedly lead them to a Mountain West title and into the playoff just because of him. I'm not kidding. He's that good. And they just feed him. They lean into it. He only had 13 carries this game, actually. I don't know what happened there, but let's see who else. I'll touch on Louisville for a bit. SMU, I think, is good. They're 5-1. They go to 2-0 in the ACC. Louisville drops to 1-1 in the ACC and 3-2 overall. They beat them 34-27. Yeah, Louisville, tough game because you play 2 good teams. You play Notre Dame and SMU back-to-back. You drop both of them. Your other wins are against a pretty decent Georgia Tech team. Props. But Austin, PA, and Jackson State are your other 2 wins. They got to bounce back, and they got to whoop up on on Virginia here next week. Okay, so Louisville plays Miami the week after that. So Miami's on a bye next week. Noted. But, yeah, SMU, they go to 5-1, man. Let's see their upcoming schedule here. They go to Stanford, which they should win. Go to Duke. That'll be a tough game for them. They play Pitt at home, Boston College at home, 2 good games, and then they finish the year with Virginia and Cal. I'm not going to say it's a tough road ahead, but it's not easy. For an ACC schedule, that's actually pretty difficult. But yeah, they're probably favored in 4 of those next 6 games, so we'll see what they can put together. Indiana goes to 6-0. Cold-ass interview from their head coach. Go look at the resume. I win. And it cuts to Indiana playing football. I thought it was tough. Anyways, Indiana goes to 6-0, 3-0 in the Big Ten. They beat Northwestern 41-24. Curtis Rourke, 33 dropbacks, 25 completions, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaging 11.5 yards an attempt. I mean, Northwestern's not great. I understand that, but shit, Indiana. Who would have thought? They go to Nebraska next week, which will be a good game. Then they play Nebraska at home. They play Washington at home. They go to Michigan State, play Michigan at home, at Ohio State. Oof, yikes. They're probably going to be favored in 1, 2, 3. So probably 3 of the next 6 games. So they should probably go like 9-3 realistically. Maybe 10-2, which, I mean, can't slouch at that if you're a Hoosier. But yeah, they go to 6-0. They get a win over Northwestern. Any games else I want to talk about? Let's see. That's it for the ranked teams. Boston College drops one of Virginia. Virginia goes to 4-1. They beat him 24-14. Boston College drops to 4-2. Pitt beats UNC. They go to 5-0, 34-24. Good game. Wake Forest just beats NC State. NC State was a playoff, quote-unquote, playoff team coming into this year. They go to 3-3. After watching them against, what was that? Eastern Illinois or some shit. They look like dog, and it's continued. Nebraska goes to 5-1. They beat Rutgers 14-7. Weird game, Nebraska. Their defense is insane. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for all the games I want to talk about. Georgia Tech beats Duke. Drops Duke's undefeated season to 5-1. They improved to 4-2. Does Georgia Tech? ASU comes back and beats Kansas. They go to 4-1. Hey, go Devils, baby. Yeah, Scatterbo is actually a legit running back. I don't care what you say. He's a legit running back. And U of A, they drop a game to a good Texas Tech team. I understand they're good, but it's just such a momentum killer. You go on the road, you beat Utah in Utah, and then you drop to Texas Tech at home. It's just like, damn, Fafita, come on, man. Threw 2 picks, just over 50% passing. Not great. Tatari McMillan, 161 yards. But yeah, man. Defense for U of A. For all the NFL talent that they are supposedly have. Not showing up, really. But yeah, that kind of wraps up my Week 6 recap. I'll give you guys my picks. I'm not going to go too in-depth about why. Just off the cuff here. We'll go to top 25 matchups. All right. So this Friday, the Utah Utes come to town, 2:10 They play ASU. And I'm not sure if Rising's going to be back. Let me look that up real quick. Utah waiting on go-ahead from medical staff as Cam Rising's injury enters 5th week. So, Utah might be without Cam Rising again. They had that bye to kind of fix things. I'm going to pick... Give me ASU, man. I think Utah drops both games to Arizona teams this year. I'll pick ASU there. Bama hosts South Carolina. I think Bama whoops up on this team. I think kind of what you saw from Georgia, a little bounce back game here. Bama wins. Clemson goes to Wake Forest. I think they win there. Mizzou goes to UMass, one of the worst teams in the country. They're going to get a bounce back win. Expect Luther Burden to probably go over 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. Losing my voice, damn. And then you got the Red River Showdown. Texas goes into Oklahoma. And this one might not be a game. I think Texas is in every way better. This Red River rivalry is not. I mean, for a rivalry game, it's probably going to be closer than what I'm thinking. On paper, though, with Oklahoma's team, and I don't really. It's not even a competition. The only thing I can think of is if they just rattle Arch Manning early and they kind of get him under pressure, and maybe Ewers has to go and save the day. I'm not sure. Tickets are starting at $352. Holy shit. Yeah, I think Texas wins that game. I mean, I would love to see a game, but I just don't think it's going to be that close. Penn State goes into USC. They're going to lose that game. I'm telling you right now, USC is beating Penn State. You can pretty much put that as a lock. Penn State is minus 5.5 in this game. Don't know how. They don't deserve to be 4 in the country. I'm telling you, USC is winning this game. Yeah. Notre Dame hosts Stanford. Little trap game for Notre Dame. They've struggled against kind of weaker opponents. Ashton Daniels is a hell of a quarterback and a hell of an athlete. And you got Iron Manor, too. They got to watch out for him. That Notre Dame secondary is good. Iron Manor is also good. Should be a good matchup to watch. Benjamin Morrison is one of the top corner prospects this year. Iron Manor is one of the top receiving prospects. We'll see if they kind of mirror him. That'll be a fun matchup to watch, though. Yeah, I think Notre Dame wins that game. Cal goes into Pitt. I would like to pick Cal here, but I think Pitt goes to 6-0. Illinois hosts Purdue. I'll take Illinois in that. U of A goes to BYU. This is one of those games where I think U of A can win just because, like, they're coming off a loss, and I don't know. I just don't think – I think U of A wins this game. Mississippi State goes into Georgia. I think Georgia runs the score up on them. Florida goes into Tennessee. I think Tennessee bounces back and kind of whoops up on this Florida team. And then you got Ohio State and Oregon. 2 versus 3. Give me the Buckeyes in this game. Should be a close game, a closer game. The only thing I can think of is Ohio State and their quarterback play. I'm not the biggest fan of them. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Will Howard. He's just not great in my opinion, especially for a number 2 ranked team in the country. I think he might hold them back from winning a natty, but I think they win this game. I'll take the Buckeyes, and that pains me, but I'll take them. Ole Miss goes to LSU. I think Ole Miss. Oh, this is a tough game, actually. Good matchup. I don't know. I think Newsom-Meyer plays a good game here. I think I'm going to take LSU. Yeah, I'm taking the Tigers. Iowa State goes into West Virginia. This just seems like an upset just waiting to happen. I'll take West Virginia in that game. Morgantown, turn up. Kansas State goes into Colorado. Give me Colorado. Give me Colorado to go 5-1 and 3-0 in the Big 12. And then Boise State goes into Hawaii. They're going to run all over them. Boise State, give me them. Let's see what else we got cooking here. Any other games I want to touch on? Washington goes to Iowa. I'll take Iowa in that game. I don't really want to talk about any of that. No. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Vandy goes into Kentucky. I mean, those are 2 good teams going against each other. Give me Vandy. Vandy has Diego Pavia. Taking them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys listening. A little speed run through predictions there, but I know you guys can keep up. Stay tuned to my UFC and NFL breakdowns. They're coming soon. Yeah. Appreciate you guys listening. Be sure to follow the TikTok and the Instagram at Let's Talk Ball _podcast. Go follow that, like that, all that good stuff. And yeah, appreciate you guys listening. We'll see how that Ohio State game shakes out. I think they kind of whoop up on them. I'm not going to lie. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.